afternoon to all, and a warm welcome to yet another Insights Simplified webinar, where we try to break down our comprehensive studies into easily understandable key takeaways for you, and also try to address your thoughtful comments and questions. It's wonderful to have all of you join us today. My name is Namita Jain. I'm a director with nasscom Insights, the research arm of nasscom. Before we get started, just a couple of hygiene pointers for the session today. Number one, we've kept your audio and video off so that we can seamlessly deliver this webinar. However, we will open it up in the last 10 minutes with Q&A. So please keep all your questions and comments coming in the chat box. Number three, this recording will be available on our YouTube channel in maybe 3 to 4 weeks from now. So do subscribe and stay informed. All right. So let's get started. The study in focus today is a joint work between EY and nasscom. It's been a great partnership for the study. And what we bring to you today is not deep quantitative analysis or certain final decisions, but a lot of thought-provoking questions, directional sentiments by the leaders in the tech services sector, and also certain major aspects to consider as we address this very pertinent topic of productivity impact of AI on technology services companies and their workforce. The study is titled, as on your screens, AI Deation to Impact, Architecting an AI-First Workforce in the Tech Services Sector. I think we deliberated a lot when we were trying to put together a title, and I think you will realize AI Deation, which is a lot of ideation today being enabled, being augmented, being supported by AI. And that significantly is beginning to impact how work, worker, workplace, all of those are getting impacted. There are 5 major themes that we talk about in this particular study, and I'll quickly walk you through those. 1, the fact that the study focuses on technology services sector and that AI and AI's infusion into how work is done, as well as how client work is delivered, is getting re-engineered is an important one. Second, we look at what is the real productivity uplift or impact of AI. More importantly, not so much the quantitative aspect, but what are the levers that are beginning to impact AI productivity and how organizations are beginning to look at it. Third, how are organizations as a result, obviously because AI is going to be ubiquitous, looking at combining human workforce and AI to create collaborative workplaces, collaborative work designs. As a result of that, what is beginning to happen to the established organizational structures? Not so much in terms of disruption, but how are they slowly becoming adaptive and fungible? And finally, there's a lot at stake across the board. When I say this, it's not just leadership, but leadership is definitely very crucial in managing this change and shift. So what are certain imperatives for the leaders to think through? And how can they plan this shift for their work and workforce? Those are the 5 major things we'll cover as part of today's discussion. So let's start with the first one. As I said, the whole IT services is getting re-engineered. So what is the new set of value unlocks? What is AI unlocking? 1, I think from the race to the bottom of cost, for the longest time, we've spoken about cost, and over the last decade, cost and value delivery by the tech services sector. We are now probably reshaping that thinking to say, how do AI capabilities enable race to the top, which is to the top of the services pyramid and reshaping the entire services delivery, services design from the technology services sector. It might also mean creating new services models, new business models to be able to deliver those value unlocks. The second bit, therefore, is that cost arbitrage is no longer the key differentiator, and organizations recognize that. It's about technology arbitrage, and AI is actually enabling that. One particular technology, probably after cloud and after internet, which actually has the power to create technology arbitrage across organizations. It is through intellectual property design, it is through automation, it is through proprietary AI solutions. It's not even AI products alone. It's just the packaging of AI solutions that would speak to a particular customer in exactly the business requirement that they have, which could be a key differentiator here. Thirdly, we're beginning to see that AI is kind of amalgamating and kind of making the difference between the services provider and the client very narrow. It's now that providers need to have skin in the game. With the emergence of shared risk models, outcome-based pricing models, value-based models, whatever you may say, but a lot more skin in the game from the provider community. And finally, all of that is being recognized into one outcome, which is the decoupling of scale from size. For the longest time, we've said that if we have to grow, or if the industry has to grow, the headcount also has to grow. And that kind of went in a linear fashion. But non-linearity of revenue and size is beginning to creep in, and that is forcing organizations to rethink the workforce equation. To the effect that, leaders are coming out and saying that if there has to be an incremental benefit, there may not be an incremental headcount increase to deliver that kind of a benefit. To sum it up, I think a very apt quote from the CEO of Cognizant, Mr. Ravi Kumar, which says that the discontinuity that has been powered by agentic AI is literally like a tsunami waiting to happen. It's coming at us, we all know it, yet the full scope and scale will be a steep one. Definitely some disruption to the white-collar jobs, but for organizations that prepare for it, I think it's going to be an exhilarating journey. So what is the whole rethinking about workforce in this productivity era? EY and nasscom did this particular exercise where we took some of the proprietary work that EY had already conducted earlier this year about from their AI deation work on all kinds of job roles broken down into 10,000 plus tasks. And they analyzed each and every task on 3 factors: the exposure to AI, the intensity of the task within a particular job role, and the ability of AI to fully take up that job, or the need for humans to intervene, the complementarity part. Basis this analysis, we took an abstract of this work for the tech services organizations. What did we look at? From the left to the right, I'll walk you through the methodology. We looked at 25 tech services roles that cut across the services side as well as the BPM side. So 5 major job categories: software development, BPM services, intelligent automation, infrastructure services, and certain enabling services, which are more relationship or stakeholder oriented, and a lot more human element and judgment comes into the play, but are core to the delivery of tech services for clients. Across these job categories and 25 roles, 1,000 plus tasks were identified. So each role was broken down into tasks. For example, if a software developer role is there, software developers typically do 5 major things in a software development lifecycle. It's all about requirements gathering and understanding of the functional requirements and non-functional requirements, then translating those requirements into a design document, converting those design documents into proper code, the testing and QA of the code, and then the final release and delivery of it. So across this, broad major stages, further breaking down of each of them into activities and then tasks, because the premise is that AI is not disrupting roles, it's actually disrupting tasks. Either it is fully automating certain tasks, or it is augmenting certain tasks where humans and AI do it together, or it is amplifying what humans could do with that task. So 3 major actions are happening with the help of AI for each task. Hence the breakdown to a task level. And then we analyzed what is the level of exposure complementarity, and intensity, and came up with a score that we called the AI Productivity Uplift Potential. Now, what this particular score means is what is the art of possible? What is the max productivity uplift that can be gained in each and every task if it was either augmented or automated or amplified with the help of AI? And some results were very, very interesting, to the point that they, kind of validate the quote from Mr. Ravi Kumar, which is up to 50 to 60% of a productivity lift potential. Again, I want to emphasize on the word potential, which means the art of the possible under certain conditions in software development, and maybe up to 80% in certain BPM roles where there's very, very high level of standardization, repeatability, uniformity, and data access is easy, right? But what were the factors? These factors are also important because we all are hearing a lot about AI productivity or AI-led productivity, and yet we are also at the same time hearing that enterprises are being very, very cautious in implementing AI at scale. And that gives us certain factors to keep in mind. This analysis was done basis available GenAI technologies as of mid of 2024. Since then, GenAI has significantly grown and matured as a technology itself, and we've seen agentic AI come in. The concerns around data security, privacy, responsibility, auditability, transparency, etc., continue to persist, particularly when putting enterprise-grade data into some of these AI tools. The scalability of pilot productivity results, I would call all of these as pilot productivity results, done in certain conditions with certain kind of use cases, data, etc. But the scalability of this across real production environments, that is a big question for organizations to figure out. That's literally like the elephant, and everybody's trying to grapple it from all sides. And then the harmonization of gains over time. All of these factors are still very fluid. They're very, very volatile, dynamic, and very different for different organizations. What that really means from our analysis point of view is that it's very difficult to say that in 6 months we would have nailed, the productivity conundrum between human plus AI. I think this is an organizational journey, and organizations will differ not just in time frame, but also the level of maturity that they are able to deliver or achieve out of this exercise. But the one thing that's very clear is that the shift is happening. So what does that do to work? Organizations are also rethinking how work will happen. And it's not just about doing the same work with human plus AI now. It's also about redesigning work. So if there were 6 or 7 major steps, can that be done in 3 to 4? Can things run a lot more in parallel, etc.? Those are all the kinds of questions that organizations are asking in doing an AI-led work reconstruction. And just to give you an example of what a customer service executive work at an L0, L1 level might look like with AI infused, I think if you walk top to bottom, today when a call comes in or when a issue ticket comes in, the agent has to manually go fetch information about the customer, understand what's the background. Maybe there's some history attached to this, recent calls in the past, or disgruntled customer or a very happy customer. All kinds of factors are there. But with AI, this entire thing is getting auto-summarized very quickly in front of the agent for the agent to actually synthesize and get onto the call, along with the entire sentiment analysis, past escalations, who did it go to, how satisfied was the customer. So the entire history is now available for the agent, and that is making first level, second level responders actually respond like experienced responders, possibly. And that is also shrinking the amount of time it takes to resolve a particular query. So significant level of productivity improvement in customer service operations. And there are similar examples for the tech services side on the software development lifecycle. What does that mean in terms of organizational shifts? We've, for the longest time, banked upon and always very ubiquitously talked about pyramid structures. Now, this is something that we debated, and it's very easy for, or maybe easier said than done, that pyramid would change into a diamond or a T or any other shape. However, what are the factors that are driving this shift? And what are some of those questions that companies may have to ask or leaders may actually have to ponder over? Those are some of the things we wanted to highlight. So redefining the whole role design and accountability. Now, we are imagining a workforce with human plus AI. So what does this mean? The balance between machine and human autonomy and judgments. How do humans and machines interact? Where do they draw boundaries? When are decisions passed on between human and AI systems or agents? And what does that mean? What does this whole new co-creation mean for organizations? Who can organizations hold accountable and responsible for results and for decisions? Would it always be the humans? Or with increasing AI augmentation and automation, will there be an opportunity and a way to hold AI accountable and in a legally compliant way, so to speak? How does the skilling happen? It's not very easy for all of us to work with an intelligent system that is non-human. So how do we extract the best worth out of AI? Is it just a prompting game, or is it more? And there is a deeper level of understanding about what AI can really do well versus what you and I can do well. Is that required? What kind of collaboration? Is that going to be a core capability? Will we have to train our workforce a lot more on that? And how do people supervise what AI gives as output, with AI getting better and better and better at the output, and it becoming very difficult for us to find out where the real impact of hallucinations might be and where things can go wrong? The next big thing, which is we all talk about, performance, risk, ethics. Where do we draw the boundaries? What is shared responsibility? Who is accountable for driving human plus AI teams together? And how are instructions really created? And what does this mean in times of uncertainty? All organizations have plans keeping humans in mind, but now we have AI agents. So what does it mean to work in these collaborative teams in times of uncertainty? What does this do to data privacy and system trust? And what kind of guardrails would be required? Increasingly with self-learning systems, how should responsible AI frameworks evolve themselves? And what would that mean for even the legal system and our compliance and regulatory systems in order to catch up to these changing environments? All these are questions that would define how structures change. But one thing is very sure, that org structures will have to move from being very rigid structures with a particular kind of fresher to junior to mid-level, the mid to senior level, and the senior level constructs, the kind of breadth and length it has, to becoming more agile, lean, fungible, very, very cross-functionally skilled teams. So to sum it all up, what does this mean for leaderships? How should they respond? We've kind of figured out there are 6 major things they want to do. First, create the path, create some kind of an anchored vision. It might not be a full-fledged change, an entire enterprise-wide change. It could be a small experiment, but there has to be a vision, some kind of an outcome associated with that vision. Build 2 clocks. What that really means is not every single worker is going to become AI first almost immediately. So for some time, organizations might see 2 distinct kinds of speeds. The AI natives or the enthusiasts or the people who are very excited about it taking on first, but others who are slowly building up that capacity, continuing to do things the traditional way, but still learning and trying to move to an AI-led work model. So 2 different kinds of speeds that organizations may have to battle for some time. The whole architecting of the shift, as we spoke about in detail in the last slide, Leading from the edge, I think what this probably means is also knowing that there will be major failures here, but the ability to rise back from failures and keep trying will be very important to ace this shift. Guarding the core, which is not just the business core or making sure that the business fundamentals are there, but also the human judgment, the expertise that is sitting there in these organizations across multiple generations, that needs to be guarded. And that actually needs to be guarded so that those AI systems can be trained on them and they can be made very contextually intelligent. And then just reimagining the system. I think most organizations are responding to it. Will be interesting after 12, 18 months, if there is a complete reimagination of what organizations can do with AI first in mind. We used to say this about technology, then we said this about digital. Now we are talking about an AI first shift to the way we think. Finally, just to sum it up, a very interesting quote from another leader within the sector. The convergence of human ingenuity and AI is bound to happen, is bound to reshape what we create and deliver. It's important for organizations to reimagine the entire talent model and also with agility to embrace the ambiguity that will come in the short term, in the midterm, till the time organizations figure out the human plus AI in a seamless way.